Are we supposed to be green?
Green on.
Green is on.
Okay.
Mine's red.
It's always red.
Good evening, it's 6:31, Wednesday, October 2nd, meeting of the University City Council. Call to order. Quorum check, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Councilmember Bulman.
Here.
Councilmember Goolsby.
Here.
Councilmember Putt.
Here.
Councilmember Rubal.
Here.
Councilmember Vaughan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Invocation tonight is made from Mayor Pro Tem. Now we'll lead the pledge.
Father, we are here today to discuss important matters for our community. Please grant us your grace and wisdom. Please grant us your grace and wisdom as we consider these and make decisions for our community. Please watch over all of us, especially anyone facing hardships. And please pray for the people that just had the devastating hurricane and the flooding in our country. Please watch over our first responders as they keep us safe and also keep an eye on our military as well. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor
the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. We'll start out with City Manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few items for you this evening. You know, we've had a lot of talk about water, and our Public Works Department has been combing through the Edwards area to identify water sources. We were able to reach an agreement with a farmer to purchase 25 acre feet, not lease, but purchase 25 acre feet, so it will be ours to have and to hold from this day forward. The only thing that we're waiting on at this point is the Edwards Aquifer Authority. They have to have an extra step in their approval when the water comes from a farmer. So they'll be doing that on October 9th. We don't think they'll withhold that sale. Also with the same farmer, there is a possibility that we'll be able to purchase another additional 25 acre feet from them in January. And so we were lucky enough to get that split between two separate budgets, which works out better for the farmers and their taxes as well. So I'll keep you apprised on how all that goes. The other thing, we had been talking about the 2024 warrant reduction program. It went very, very well. In 2023, we had 180 people come in and get on a warrant payment plan or pay it. In 2024, we had 251 people. So again, remember that warrant lift gives them back their driver's license and their ability to renew their driver's license and to drive again. So it's very important. Of the 251 people this year, 46 paid in full. And then we have 205 that are on monthly payment plans. And so hopefully they'll be able to follow through on those nominal payments that they're making. You have a flyer in front of you, and we'll get one to Ms. Bulman as well. Talking about the UCTV, you had a flyer before you last year. So this has a lot of little boxes on it, and they're all pretty and colorful. And the reason I'm stressing that is these are all the categories that we're going to be covering on the UCTV. We have to have 480 hours of content to go live. We're nearing that, and so we're pretty close to going live. But I want to point out the little red box in the middle that Mr. Vaughan and I already talked about. You see there's a little box in there that talks about, discussions with council members. And the reason I'm bringing that up is, don't be surprised one day if we show up at your door or find you out somewhere and somebody from the media department says, hey, let me ask you a few questions, or can I get a statement? So that's your warning.
Okay. Fair warning.
And when the UCTV goes up, there's a good question that Mr. Vaughan had asked me. How many hours is it up and where are people going to find it? So initially it's going to be a Spectrum channel. So it'll be available for everybody who has Spectrum TV. It runs 24/7, 365. And so we'll be changing out and have holiday messages and things of that nature. And then eventually there was an app that people can download on their phones, and that'll allow them to watch the UCTV from that application also.
Okay, if you don't have Spectrum.
if you don't have Skype. We'll be working hard to get it available to anybody who wants to watch UCTV. All right, the last item I want to talk to you about is it's the second day of the new budget season. So I have been reaching out to golf firms and have been speaking with them about getting the operational assessments done. Thus far, I've received 3 proposals. I'm anticipating 2 more. What I'd really like to do is at some point just get all those together and go through them. And I'll have something for you hopefully by either the 15th of October City Council meeting or maybe even November 6th, depending on how they come in. That's all I have for tonight, sir, for the city manager report.
Okay, any staff reports?
No staff report.
Next, the citizens to be heard. At this time, the public is invited to address the city council and speak on any matter not specifically listed for public hearing elsewhere in the agenda. No action will be taken at this council meeting on any subject. I got 3 people signed up tonight. The first one is former Mayor John Williams.
Mayor, Council, you probably can see why I'm here. That's actually twofold. First thing I want to do is a major shout out to our police department. One night about a month ago, I got this ding, ding, ding on my doorbell at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I said, I wonder what that is. So I answered the door. It was one of our police officers. And he just wanted to say, Mr. Williams, I need to let you know something. Your garage door is still open. And that was really, that was above and beyond. Really fantastic. And so my shout out is to the police department. They do marvelous things that many times go unnoticed. So that's it. Okay, golf. All right. I've been pretty bored for the last couple of months, so I've been doing a little bit more on the golf course than normal. But I do want to report some very positive things to you. The decision that council made to appropriate funds to fix 8 and 9, unbelievable. If you haven't been out there recently, you need to go out and take a look. It's made the 8th hole and the 9th hole much harder. It definitely has, because you've got this really big clearance you have to make now to get over 8th hole and get in the 9th hole. But a marvelous addition. Also, number 6. I don't know if you've driven around there recently. Number 6. What happens usually is the 6th green is at a location here, and the 7th. Then there's the bridge that goes across the 7th. And if you finish on 6, or you want to go to the next tee box, you have to pretty much wait if somebody's playing up on top of the hill. So what they did is they put a nice little section there where they cemented it off. So now the carts park in front, the side of the green, and then walk up to the green. So when they're done, they get back on the green and their carts, and then they can go, and they won't interrupt anybody else playing the game. That is marvelous. Okay. Obviously the final thing is, and I've talked to many guys and gals playing out there, and played out there in the recent weeks, and nothing but total praise. Nothing but total praise. If you have not seen the greens in the last couple of weeks, they have matured so phenomenally well that it's like almost a new golf course, because the contours are a little bit different on the greens, and it's a little bit different. It's real soft in front of the greens now, so you have to hit the ball on the fly onto the green. You can't do the little roll up anymore like us older guys used to get away with. We can't do that anymore. But I just wanted to tell you guys the decisions that council made were the right decisions. They really were. We've got a golf course now I think can hold itself up to any golf course in this community without question. Those new greens are the reason. It's really awesome. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next up, Ms. Holly Schaefer.
Molly Schaefer, I lived 10 months on 106 Granada and 2 months out at 2160 UC Boulevard. I just wasn't planning on speaking, but there are over 100 volunteers out there that showed up to unload pumpkins tonight. Olympia, Rose Garden, Impact Church, individuals, little kids, older, grandparents. It is so exciting. So I wanted to invite everybody, if your meeting's over in time, to come out and see what they're doing. But they're unloading all the pumpkins in the patch. It looks great. Come out. We're open Friday. We're open all month long. We'd love to have you see it Heroes Day, Saturday. But I just wanted to come say that real quick, then I gotta go back to work. Thank you.
I can honestly tell you, that is the best that pumpkin patch has looked before it was loaded with pumpkins in all the years we've done.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
There's a lot of, you put in a lot of hard work out there.
It looks great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And last is Mr. Ken Taylor.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm gonna pass this out. This is by way of a sermon, I hope you don't mind. Well, I'm not the preacher, so I'm gonna have to read it. Mr. Mayor, Councilmembers, my name is Ken Taylor, 103 Terracotta. And as most of you know, I am a retired city manager with over 47 years of experience. I've seen a lot of council members come and go over the years. Most city managers can readily identify the various types of council members with whom they work. There are types. Among the least effective types are the know-it-all, those who want to play city manager, and the grandstander. Among the most effective types are the team players and the visionary leaders. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Okay. Census to be heard. Now we go into the city manager's announcements.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to take a couple minutes and cover some of the stuff that's going on in Universal City in the month of October. We do have things other than the patch. I know some of you don't like to hear that, but we do. So the library this Saturday is having a great program. It's called the Mystery Radio Show, where kids get to learn how radios work and get to play radio while they're there, and a couple of other events at the library, and that is this Saturday also, starts at 10 a.m. We do have Heroes Day, which is for the police and fire department. It's kind of their national night out event, and that's going to be Saturday at 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., and that is the patch right over here. So they'll be having that. The police and fire put a lot of effort into that, and they are expecting a very good crowd this year. Also, just some ongoing events that the patch that I think are important for the community to know is that starting this Friday and every Friday during the month of October, the library staff is going to be down there, and they have story time. And this is the time where they get to take the kids outdoors and read different kinds of books and have different people attend. Some people bring the entire daycare. So if you want to see a lot of joy, I would highly recommend that on Fridays at 10 a.m. you go to the patch and watch those kids. And then another program, which I particularly like, is Community Coffee at the Patch. It's every Thursday at 9 a.m. It is free. Anyone, it's kind of a come and go thing. We'll have some staff members out there for each Thursday. Now that does not start tomorrow. It starts the next week, because the patch doesn't open until Friday. So please try to attend one of those. Thursday, October 17th, the golf course has their happy hour, which is also a Halloween party. I know that sometimes people think, oh, happy hour, it's for adults. But really, the golf course happy hours are done in such a way that they can be family-friendly environment. And so if you have little ones that already have their superhero or princess or Harry Potter costumes, Miss Bulman, ready, and they want to have an extra chance to show off besides all of the other Halloween events outside of the city, I would recommend that you try the golf course on Thursday, October 17th. And then there's this little thing called early voting, which starts Monday, October 21st. We've been getting a lot of inquiries about that. Of course, the library is a voting center, and so that will be the nearest location in Universal City. And then on voting day, November 5th, we'll have 3 or 4 locations in the city where people can vote. And then last, but certainly not least, and perhaps more important for some people, is let's not forget fall cleanup. It happens in October, 2 weekends. It's October 17th through the 19th, which is a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then we have it again October 24th, which is the 24th through the 26th. So plenty of things happening. We hope to see everybody out and about and enjoying all that Universal City has to offer.
Thank you. Council members' announcements, we'll start with Pro Tem, and we'll go clockwise. Third.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate Kim talking about the community coffee. I wanted to make sure that it would be great if, I know it's Thursday, I know it's during the work day, but if anybody can show up, I think will go a long way just to hang out and have coffee for a little bit, I think.
And donuts.
And donuts, yeah, they serve donuts too, so please come out.
I apologize. So I know that we're always concerned about having a quorum. Maribel was kind enough for every event at the Pumpkin Patch. We have put out a notice of possible quorum in case we have 3 or more, or I guess it would be 4 or more council members there. So as long as you're not talking about city business, none of the staff wants to be, the party pooper. So yes, if we have more council members attending these events, you are covered under the quorum situation.
Thank you for being proactive about that. We appreciate it. And I wanted to reiterate that this weekend is to the benefit of both the police and the fire departments. And so if you come out and buy your pumpkins, at the end, a check will be written out to the police and fire. It's early to buy pumpkins, but it's a great, they're great groups to support. And I will say that we've had pumpkins that some people on our team have had pumpkins from last year still that are still looking good and fresh. And so don't worry about buying them. If you don't carve them, they will last for the season. So please come out and support the police and fire and attend the open house. It'll be a lot of fun. Last night I did National Night Out. The mayor and my husband and I drove around to some of the parties. This one wasn't as well organized. It kind of got we got a little bit behind with it, but the people that have had consistent parties had their parties, and it was so great to go out and interact with the people and see them. And we were there when 4 police cars, or was it 5 police cars, pulled up to one of the houses, and the kids were thrilled. And they let them get in the car, and one of the kids was on the little announcer system, the PA system, microphone, and said, "I need backup," and we were all like, so it was really cute, and they just had a ton of fun. So I was appreciative of everybody that made us all feel so welcome. That was awesome. And then I did attend the most recent discussion about the Coronado School. I want to reiterate, it's not city business. I'm just kind of representing because it's something within our community and going and just learning about what's going on. There is a possibility that they may shut a couple of schools in the school district. The growth is focusing really far on the north side. We've got older school districts. Our two schools, Coronado and Olympia, are some of the lower percentages, but these are all just conversations at this point. There's no decisions that have been made. I'm not sure that it will even get made this year, meaning that I think people should be paying attention, know that that's a possibility of something that would happen. But the people who attended the meeting asked good questions, talked about the impact on property values, what they would think about doing with the building. So there's lots of discussions going around that, but I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that that is something that the Judson School District is looking at. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's called the Buggy Brigade when the library comes. We've had 150 buggies out there, baby buggies for reading, and it's really quite cute. Pumpkin delivery was talked about. We are wearing our t-shirts. We're going out as soon as the meeting is over. Maybe there'll be pumpkins left, who knows? But I do want to bring up, I've had a lot of individuals contact me and their concerns about the length of council comments that's interfering with council business. Individual concerns really should be handled individually with the city manager. Council, we have been put in the weeds, but we're here to set policy and give guidance to the city manager. We're not here to tell each director how to run their departments. That is what the city manager does. But I'd like to ask council to put on a future agenda a discussion that may limit the amount of time we take from 3 to 5 minutes unless the mayor gives consent to go longer.
Noted, and we'll discuss later.
Thank you. That's all I have, sir.
Councilmember Bulman?
I don't know if you guys can hear me super well, but I just wanted to thank everyone for their patience and letting me zoom in. I really don't want to continue to be here, but we just don't have a choice. We have contractors and painters and everything's gotten a little bit delayed. So fingers crossed, I get to come home soon, but as of now, we don't quite have a date. So I just wanted to thank everyone for their patience.
Well, we're definitely looking for your return. No other comments?
Thank you, that's it, thank you.
Councilman Goolsby?
I'm good, I think. Thank you, sir.
Nothing for me in that, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. Last but not least is Councilmember Rubal.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of shout outs. First of all, to one of our residents, Mr. Archie Wortham. He essentially was an important part of getting via transport the link system into Northeast Lakeview. Also, of course, the Northeast Lakeview staff and also the city of Live Oak supported that effort. It took 8 years in order for that to happen. 49% of the students at Northeast Lakeview identified transportation needs as a prime concern. So basically, the link for the service area provided, unfortunately not UC at this time, is free to the students. It's also minimal cost for seniors that need rides to, they use the example dialysis and so forth. So Archie, if you're out there, a shout out to you. Another shout out to essentially our Methodist Hospital. They did a ribbon cutting on their outpatient surgery service. Well, first of all, you have to understand the magnitude of that. It almost doubled the size of the hospital. Number one, they're already full as far as outpatients type thing. And number three, and probably most importantly, is essentially the outpatient services will advance non-invasive or minimally invasive surgeries in multiple areas, including obstetrics and gynecology. What this means is essentially they are one of 10 institutions in the country that will bring in people to train in advanced robotic surgery. So hats off to the advances made by them. They have a 40-year plan for development already, type thing in place. So long-term vision for them. Another shout out is to essentially CJ, our code compliance gal. Essentially, basically, I was able to observe her interaction with residents. Sometimes in a difficult scenario. So obviously, you don't like to get a ticket, you don't like to get a citation, but she essentially was very, very good, had very good rapport with particularly the seniors, and essentially listened to their needs and tried to accommodate it. A shout out to Public Works, who drastically improved the serviceability of the alleyways in the areas that we discussed at the last meeting. I really appreciate that. They are going to come up with a schedule to essentially work with CPS and address some of the long overlooked power lines, so that if we have a disaster like a hurricane or high winds or whatever through here, it'll be less likely to cut service to our residents. So again, a shout out for that plan. I'd also like to suggest, Mr. Mayor, that given essentially the water issues in the state of South Texas, that we, the City of Universal City, begin to develop a zero-scape plan so that we incorporate in future developments a portion of the land use to zero-scaping. And basically maybe even come up with a plan to make that a little bit retrospective. Obviously, the more we develop, the more water we use. So I think we have to look forward and say it may be time that St. Augustine is not the grass plant in front of apartments or whatever, type thing. So perhaps the city can look into some options there. And that's all I have for tonight, Mr. Mayor.
The last bit noted, we'll discuss later, because that's not really a bad idea. We've had over the years, similar type situations and discussions, so they'll come forward. I do have a list of announcements, not a whole lot, but first of all, this is going to celebrate Proclamation for National Texas Teachers Day, the October 5th, 2024. And we have Dr. Nicole Taganot come up to make the presentation. And if Councilmember Corey, if you would be so kind as to read the proclamation.
I've been practicing wearing-ins.
If you would so be so kind as to come back.
Whereas the City of Universal City's future strength depends on providing a high-quality education to all students, and whereas teacher quality matters more to student achievement than to any other school-related factor. And whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lesson plans and supporting students. And whereas our City of Universal City teachers have demonstrated great resilience, adaptability, and creativity during the COVID-19 crisis and daily in their classrooms. And whereas our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of this community. And whereas Teachers Can is a statewide movement supported by more than 150 partnering businesses and organizations committed to elevating the teaching profession and honoring the critical role teachers play in the success of Texas. And
I, Tom Maxwell, Mayor of Universal City, Texas. The second day of October 2024, do hereby proclaim the City Council of the City Council of the City of Universal City doing Teachers Can and in partnering entities across Texas celebrating Texas Teachers Day. Thank you ever so much. There is an awful lot of news about sports players and all the millions and millions of dollars that they earn. And I'm not saying they don't earn it and they don't deserve it. However, once we start paying teachers the equivalent of a sports figure, then you may get my attention.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
I do have a couple of items I'd like to discuss in my comments. The submissions requesting for the golf course work plan. We're expecting how many submissions? About 3 or 4 or 5?
Well, if you remember, this is a professional services and we could sole source. When we had the collaboration workshop, one of the things that came out of that was that the council would like specifically some of the smaller ones to not sole source and to get proposals. So our purchase policy, if the dollar amount falls in where I think it is, only requires 3. I've reached out to 7 organizations. I have 3 now. I believe within the next week and a half or so, I'll have 2 more. So my goal is to hit 5.
What I would like to propose is I would like to form a committee with the golf and food and beverage professionals. I'm going to recommend Sal, Jeremy, and Katie. And I'd also like to appoint Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Vaughan to be on that committee, work with you to source or review those submissions and make a recommendation to the council on this course forward. Is that agreeable with you? Is that agreeable with you?
Absolutely, thank you.
That sounds good. They're in
Yes, we
agreement.
basically are
They're in agreement with that. The rest of the council, are you in agreement with that?
Whatever.
That's true, even wasn't you.
Okay. This past Monday, Mayor and I accompanied Judge Sakai to Austin on passenger for reviewing and I guess bringing to attention passenger rail service between Austin and San Antonio. We're really talking about future stuff, but now's the time to really bring up the conversation in different areas. It was quite interesting. It's eye-opening. Best case scenario for us near term would be that we might be able to get Amtrak to get maybe 5 4 or 5 daily round trips between San Antonio and San Antonio and Austin with sort of stops in the local area. It would be helpful for our city also, but that's the best case scenario for now. Now, long term, there is a need for rail service in rural parts of Texas and different areas in Spain, and they're already working on it between Austin and Houston. We're not going to see it in our lifetime, I don't think. They've got to have a dedicated rail line, and it's going to take millions of dollars, but they do have a plan where it is about $66 million that's sitting in reserve for potential that can be used, and each of the different entities would have to come up with 20%. They would use that for an 80% grant. But anyway, I wanted you to be aware of that. We spent the day up there. Mayor Mill went with us, and we had a really very interesting time. Number two, I want to mention the pumpkin patch over the next 30 days is going to be quite busy, and I just want to reiterate, just be aware of your surroundings because there is the potential for a walking quorum out there, or for a quorum at any given time. Last but not least, kind of a caveat on what was said earlier. There has been a lot of misunderstanding, I think, as far as trying to get items onto the agenda. And it's not just something new. We've always been questioned about how we're doing it. I'd like to ease that process up a little bit. I don't know what the direct answer is because we want to keep it open and available, but I am going to make a suggestion. I am actually making the direction that we're going to put it as an agenda item for discussion in the future. Best way forward. What I would like to say in a nutshell would be that if any member wants to add something to the council, give me a call. Actually, send me an email. Let's discuss. I'll have a few questions. I may agree with it. I may not agree with it, but it's not going to be my final decision. I want to know. I want to have some questions with it as far as cost, funding, who it affects, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll come up with a template as far as questions should be asked and what for you, and make sure that it is for the best interest of the citizens and not just one personal, initiative. But we'll do that, and we'll put that for a future meeting. And that way, everybody will have equal access to getting things in. And all you have to do is just send me an email, and we'll start from there. Now, I want you to understand, I'm not going to share your email with the other council members. That's be between you, me, and city manager. We'll get the city manager involved as we progress along, and any department heads that may be required to go into. And we'll make a determination if we come up that it's a negative and you still want to go forward, then we'll bring it to council and socialize it with the council and see what they have to say. That is in a nutshell, and is about covers by Texas Open Records Act, about 32 pages. Just joking, it's not really that long. Okay, with that being said, that's all I have on this one. Consent agenda. All matters listed under this item is considered routine by City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There has been nothing requested to be removed. Move to approve.
Second.
And any discussion? Call for the vote.
Was Councilmember Putt the second?
No, it was me.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Bulman?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal?
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
8 action items. Tab B, utility debt write-off.
Thank you, Mayor. Every year as we prepare for our audit, we have to go back through our year's worth of utility accounts and find out what the outstanding balances are, and some of those have to be written off. Of course, understanding that even though they're written off, it doesn't mean we stop trying to collect them. A few of them we can't collect, right? So the ones that are deceased, obviously, are very hard to collect. Our collection policy states if it's less than $25, we cannot send it to collection, so we can't go those. So we have about 145 accounts throughout the year that have been sent, remaining, that have been sent to collections that the collection firm and the staff is trying to collect. But in order to prepare for our audit, we are asking the council to provide the utility debt write-off in the amount of $30,843.11.
I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Discussion? Call for the vote.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye.
Was it you?
It was me.
I'm so sorry. Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Councilmember Bulman?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye, still.
Councilmember Rubal?
Aye.
Councilmember Vaughan?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Tab C, Resolution 960A, 2024, a resolution of the City, Universal City, Texas, outlining the policy for investment of public funds.
Thank you, Mayor. The Texas government requires cities to re-adopt this policy every year, all cities. The Texas Public Funds Investment Act. I am trained in the act, Ms. Green is trained in the act, and I think Mr. Garcia is also trained. So we have plenty of depth in that. But here we are again in October, bringing it back to you. There's absolutely not one word has been changed from the previous year.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got those two? Okay. Discussion?
Yes, sir. Just my standard caveat, I know it's pretty boilerplate language and has a lot of investments, but our plan is just to stick with American Bank and Tax Pool, right? We don't want to use any of the other exotic stuff.
Well, currently, we, as you said, is American Bank and Tax Pool. Texas class is about the same interest rate.
Sure.
They're not really, there's not enough variance for us to move anywhere right now.
Yeah,
So right
any
now, we're
pools
staying
would be
right
fine.
there.
Yeah.
Pool, yes.
Thank you, Mayor.
Call for the vote.
Councilmember Vaughn?
Aye.
Councilmember Goolsby?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Fitzpatrick?
Aye.
Councilmember Bulman?
Aye.
Councilmember Putt?
Aye.
Councilmember Rubal?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 9, discussion items. All matters listed under this are meant for discussion only. There will be no motions or considerations or votes taken.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was saying goodbye to Christine. This is actually a new section on the agenda, so as the council members have brought items up, we thought maybe it would be better just to make your own section where you can have your discussion and hopefully at the end give very clear directions to your professional staff so we know what we're doing. So this was an item that was requested, I think, by Mr. Vaughan, and it has to do with public meeting spaces. And this was prompted by the discussion on the large meeting room at the library. They had some changes they wanted to make to their policy on the use of the room. And so it was asked to come back on the agenda, so we have it on there for your discussion.
Yes.
Mayor, I'm just going to piggyback on that. So the library had wanted to do a new policy, which is a little bit more restrictive on rentals. And so before we consider that, I think we should have a discussion on whether we want to offer public meeting spaces. Traditionally, the library's been open for public rental. And so this is kind of going a different way from that. So if we think that's important to offer, then I think we would want to play with that policy a little bit to accommodate that. If we don't think public meeting space is important, then the library can proceed as they see fit. So I guess the point tonight is maybe to try to get a consensus and give the staff some feedback on what we would like them to do. I think the first question is should we try to offer public meeting spaces? And then if yes, then I think we should consider where that might be. And some opportunities are the library, which is closed on Sundays and Mondays. You wouldn't want to interfere with their operating hours or any of their curriculum that they might be performing, but there is those Sunday and Monday. And then Cimarron was also brought up, and it's extremely well utilized on the weekends, but not during the middle of the week. It's rarely used on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, so there's an opportunity to offer that, not block it off, but offer it for certain public meetings. And so there's been a little bit of discussion on the message board, and not enough to really have any kind of consensus. So that's what the purpose of tonight is, kind of get some feedback and see where do you think we should go down this road or not go down this road. So take it in.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to understand is what's the purpose behind it? I mean, is the current system broken? That's what I don't understand. Is are we affecting anybody right now? That's my big click. I mean, why?
Yeah, into it. So the library, traditionally, you could go rent the space, and you would just show up, you'd request it, and if it was available, they'd give you the key, and you can come rent the space. So now they want to change it to where they can kind of bump you whenever they want. So it makes it harder to rent it, because if they can bump you anytime, then...
Who was been able to help you?
Not his, well, maybe they could, and they just didn't until more recently. And so the question is, do we want to have it that way, or do we want to change it? That's what they proposed, so that's just a discussion.
So maybe a point of clarification, there is no fee to use the library room.
Correct.
They do not charge a fee. And when it's not in use for the library or for voting or for city purposes, it's always available, even on Sundays and Mondays when the library is closed. It has a separate key card. People use it, they can get in and out, they know who's been there, they got camera systems, everything else. So it is free, and it is open to the public. Okay, because you kept talking about a fee, there's no fee to use the library.
I didn't think I said a fee.
Okay.
Did I say a fee? I don't know what context I was saying, but I guess I was saying not for a fee. So it's the public meeting space that you would show up and you would get a card and you'd be able to use it.
If you booked it ahead of time, yes.
Correct.
Which is what this policy is now.
Well, they're changing it to say that they have a little bit more flexibility in canceling your event all the way up until the event. So
Only
it makes it more
because-
difficult if you wanted to plan an event, a few weeks from now. You don't have that. You can't, if they agree to it and say, yes, it's open and you can have it, you don't really have it until you show up and they haven't canceled you. So
Right.
it makes it more difficult to rely on the space.
I get it, I completely understand what you're saying. So there are some groups, robotics, Rotary, is it Daughters of the Confederate or Sons of the Confederate? There are a lot of groups that use it week in and week out. They're usually the ones that get bumped. And the main reason for getting bumped is not library events, because the library doesn't do events at night, they're closed. It typically falls into voting. And we have no control over whether or not they're going to use us as a voting location. That's the decision of the Bear County elections. So even if we did make it free and available, we can't guarantee anybody that they're going to get bumped. Only thing that we are guaranteeing them is that we will give them a 72-hour advance notice.
So how often have we had people bumped? I mean, and then the other side of it, the flip side is what's the issue with using a place like Cimarron? Is there an issue with using, and I don't even know what we're talking about as far as the public meeting space. I mean, you won't talk to me, call me. I mean, that's my work. That's where it all is. I mean, it's, people walk into my office all the time. Did they walk in here? Yeah. And
Look at the wrong name.
I did. So I'm not sure where the concern for having a public meeting space is, but if there is concern and people are feel like they're being bumped constantly, then that should be addressed. I mean, I have no issues with creating an open meeting space, but I just don't understand what the issue is.
That was my question.
Yeah. It would be interesting to know how prevalent the canceling is, because I know that they've been able to cancel previously for the same sorts of reasons. If we're coming up with a policy to be more restrictive for a problem that doesn't really exist, that would be my only concern, because they can currently now reach out and do Cimarron, correct?
For a fee.
For a fee. Are you talking about then having it not be for a fee at Cimarron?
Similar to what the library currently offers.
But they offer different programs. So the library, based on, because it's a library, it has to follow the Texas Library, TSLA, Texas State Library Association rules. So they are providing educational programs. Robotics is educational, Rotary is educational. What the library won't let you use it for is a birthday party or a baby shower or something of that nature.
Sure.
But they can use Cimarron Clubhouse for that. But they do pay $50 to use the facility, because then after they have their food and drink, we're paying the staff to go in there and clean it up, which is why they pay to use that. It's the same at any of the park's facilities. They are paying a fee to use it, but primarily that fee is to cover our cleanup costs. With the library, again, no charge whatsoever.
One question. I have rented rental spaces, pavilions over the years a couple times, and there was a fee, but it was a reimbursable deposit if we cleaned up after ourselves. Is that still in effect?
So yes, let me.
There's a pavilion that did that. I don't
That
know.
is true at some facilities. So I'll use the splash pad because it's probably the place that gets rented out the most right now. You can have a private party at the pavilion, which means it's for you and you only. If they're all open, anybody can use them. But if you want a private party out there, you pay $100 to use the facility. I don't know the amount, I think it's $100 if you're outside the city and $50 if you're inside the city, and you pay a deposit. Because we want them to pick up their pizza boxes and all their other stuff and pick up their trash and take it with them. If they don't do that, and then the staff has to stay late on a Saturday or Sunday or whatever evening or day they have that, then we keep the deposit. But if they cleaned up the place nice, they get their deposit back.
Well, so I think that, I mean, I like that idea, because I think what you're talking about, the concern is that there's a fee to have a public meeting. And if you have that, we're gonna put a deposit down, you get your deposit back if you behave yourself, and you're not throwing confetti and leaving stuff all over the floor. I think that meets what you're chasing, that covers staff time, if there is the need for something like that. I don't have an issue with something like that.
But the library is a little bit different. Is one that's got carpets, and you can go if you're using it and the library's open, then you can go into the library and the splash pad and come back out. And so they have major concerns about the things that go in there that they don't want. They don't want water. They don't want wet towels. They don't want drinks in the library. Not only for the books, but for the carpet, because we have a lot of staining on the carpet. So the library doesn't even allow food. So you're just having a meeting.
Well, I was talking about like at Cimarron. That's the one so I was just talking about like at Cimarron.
No deposit.
Let her do what she wants to do in the
Some of the
library.
other places do require a refundable deposit.
I think a refundable
Deposit.
yeah, that kind of meets all the needs. It allows people that want to have a meeting to have it without cost as long as they behave.
Well, no, they're still paying a cost to use the facility.
This is where I'm saying is it would be a refundable deposit as long as they behave.
I think, if I remember, it sounded like you said that there was a fee to use it, but also
Also a deposit.
a deposit. So they're paying $100 to say, I want to have a party here. The $50 is the deposit. The $50 is a deposit.
It's a cleaning deposit. If they clean the facility up, they get their deposit back.
So what qualifies as a public meeting? My birthday?
Yeah, that'd have to be defined. It'd have to be open to the public. Couldn't be your private birthday party.
Which would happen at the library, but there are some organizations that do rent some of the other facilities, and they have meetings that are open to the public, and they pay the $50, I'll use the Cimarron, the $50 and the $50 deposit. But they're probably just having a meeting that's open to the public, but they don't have food. So if it's not for an educational purpose, in other words, let's say XYZ insurance company wants you to come because they want to have a public meeting and inform you of all of their insurance things, that's not going to happen at the library, but it can certainly happen at the Cimarron Clubhouse.
Well, but so my thing is Mr. Billy Hill wants to come in and have teach everybody about electricity and why it's bad to put your finger on an open wire. Open to the public. He's not talking about any electric company or anything like that. It's open to anybody. It's a public service.
He can do that at the library, free of charge.
But I think what the concern is that he might get bumped.
Yeah, again, it's the election. We don't know if there's going to be a runoff or how many runoffs, or if it's going to be in the May or November. That's really what the concern is.
So is this where we tell Mr. Billy Hill, look, if it comes up to an election, you can't get bumped?
And what the library staff tries to do in the book that they keep when they're allowing people to book things in and submit, hey, I'd like to teach this educational program down here. It's open to the public. I'm going to talk to them about how to sign up for Social Security or how to do electric, or I want to tell them about how much exercise and calories they can burn. There's a form that they fill out that says, how are you going to do this? Are you expecting anybody on staff to clean up after you? They fill out the form. And if it truly is educational and free and open to the public, it goes in the library docket. They try in that docket to work with the Bear County Elections Office to decide when and if there's going to be a runoff. But good Lord, that's a mystery. We don't know. And that's typically what the case is. Other than that, educational programming is free and open to the public at the library.
In the unlikely incident that an organization is bumped from the library, would it not be feasible for the librarian and the crew to assist the function in being bumped an alternate place? Assisting, not guaranteeing, but assisting.
No, and when somebody gets bumped, even if somebody gets bumped for something else, we always try to find another location for them.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
That being much. I just don't think, I don't want to make a policy just to make a policy. If there's a need for it, I think that that's great and let's solve for it. But I'm not hearing a driving need. I feel like, it doesn't sound like the bumping happens very frequently. It sounds like we're trying to help them find an alternative site to have their meeting. Like if I was hearing about a lot of people complaining about it, but I'm not. I know the other thing we talked about at the time was their policy too restrictive that it wasn't allowing enough people to schedule meetings or something along those lines? Was there also a concern with what could be scheduled there? I don't.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, she's got.
Bulman has her hand up.
Yep, you, Councilmember Bulman, you got the floor.
Yeah, I thought, for my, like, when I commented on the message board, that's kind of what I was thinking was this new library policy is a lot more restrictive than what it was previously. And so I think opening up Cimarron I was hoping would be an option for more residents to be able to rent out a space without so many restrictions. I understand it can't be a birthday party or food or whatnot, but I'm trying to figure out is there this happy medium that maybe the library doesn't have to take all this weight and maybe Cimarron Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday could take some of that. It wasn't as restrictive. That's kind of where I was leaning at with this.
Could you please tell us what was removed from the new schedule or policy? What was taken out of the old policy
Well, I think she said something was added in.
or added? What was changed? What was changed to make it more restrictive is what I'm asking, trying to find out.
Like one of the things that was in there before was like you couldn't have, I don't remember, I don't have it up, I'm sorry. I just know before it was a little bit more, this time it was more restricted on what could be there. Like you couldn't have like guide your council, like that was one of the things that looked like you wouldn't be allowed to have in that meeting space. Not that I want to have it there, but I'm just saying like, if it's something like that, I don't see why it has to be more restricted, why you couldn't be there. Like at Cimarron, or something similar to that, or like a meet and greet for, like a city council member, or something like that. That was something that looked like that wasn't going to be allowed anymore, and so I was trying to think this might be another avenue for people to use.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't have the wording of the policy in front of me either. I think it indicated that you could not use the library for
It was for campaign events.
campaign events, that's right. It wasn't for meet your, guide your council. So I know a couple of times, maybe it was only one time, there was like the public debate thing that we had there, right? That was informative and educational for everyone. Something of that nature can go on. But if somebody from the school board is running and they want to have a kickoff for their campaign and they want to do it at the library free of charge, that's not public education, that's for their personal use. And that's what the library policy is trying to get to, is that you should not use it for your personal use. But if you can use it for public education, I personally think Meet Your Council is a public education forum. I don't think that's what they had in mind.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like I said, I unfortunately should have grabbed it, my policy on me. I was just trying to, I think my issue was, is like that I heard from some people was just that the library seems like they're holding all the brunt of it, and maybe it would just be an option to help the library out so that if they wanted to have things and they didn't want to have to worry about kicking someone out, this gave them a little bit more freedom and just offered another space as opposed to just having all that burden on the library. That's just my 2 cents. Like I said, it's not up to, I was curious what everyone else thought too, if they care or not, like if that's something, if they think a public meeting space is a good service to offer the residents other than just library, or if you guys are just fine with the library, that's fine. I was just trying to help the library out so that they weren't the only ones, it wasn't the only space in UC. How's that? That's free.
I think maybe, listening to Ms. Bulman, I think maybe all of us maybe have some misconception about who's using the library, and one of you, I apologize, asked, how many people use it and how many people get bumped. And I'll ask the librarian and send something out to the council members. But you don't have to be a resident to use the meeting room. You don't have to be the resident to use any of the spaces in Universal City. So whether you're using the large meeting room after hours at the library or during the day when the library is not using it and the voting people aren't using it, or the small meeting room, because they have a small meeting room there also. It's inside the library, so it's only during the day. You don't have to be a resident to reserve it. You don't have to be a resident to do a educational program. I'm going to say a lot of the people that use the library are not residents. I can for sure tell you that a lot of people using Cimarron Clubhouse and all of the other parks facilities are not residents because I have to sign off on the deposit checks. They're from all over. Probably more from outside the city than inside the city. But if you'll allow me, I'll ask those questions, and then I can email it out to council, then you can decide what you want to do with the information.
I think that would be great to get the extra information.
Yeah, that's the information that I think we would need to make that. If there's a lot of bumping going on, then I think it's something we need to consider. But if it's just a rare occasion, then I think we're good the way we are. But we have to have that information.
Just one final comment. I think if bumping is not a problem, then I'm curious why they brought the policy to us, the revision, because the revision reads as though they want to bump more, or they need more flexibility to bump. And so it leads to the question of, okay, well, I expect them to be bumping more because they have plans or whatever reason the library wants to use it for. And so before we approved that, I just want to make sure that we considered other options if we think that's something we wanted to do.
So why 72 hours added? Okay.
Mr. Rubal. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Basically, so far we're talking about 20, 30 people. We have a comprehensive plan coming up that it's generally estimated by the presenter of the comprehensive plan. We'll gather together more than 60 to 80 people for comments type thing in an open format. And basically, what in the city has that space that's available even for consideration and presentation of comprehensive plan?
So we booked the library for all the comprehensive planning activities.
Yeah.
That is a official city use.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, by the estimates of the person that presented, it's far in excess of what's allowable in the library. Basically,
He's talking room occupancy. I know some of you are looking. He's talking about the occupancy of the room. Well, this room has less occupancy than that.
Okay. Well, it's a concern that, there are public meetings that may be a bigger format. We probably don't have a space identified for that. The other thing is that when you look at the budget, there's like $100,000, if I'm approximately right, coming in from park preservation's a thing, which is a surprising amount of money for what I just casually observed. I was really surprised how large that is. So perhaps that's the way to go, charge, have more places to charge.
I have to tell you, there are some public libraries that do charge for the use of their rooms.
San Antonio.
San Antonio, every library, if you want to use their room in San Antonio during the day or after hours, they do charge, I think it's $100.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but that's what
That's
council
sort of the
decided.
swing side of the question.
Yes.
I would
you
like
are
to,
correct,
I'd
sir.
like to caveat on one. The monies, the deposits that are brought into the city, I suggest that you get up early some weekend mornings, Friday mornings, Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings, and go around the parks. And you'll see our Parks Department folks out there with garbage bags and pickup trucks and hauling out trash. So that's only a drop in the bucket for the cleanup. And I've seen a few heads out there nodding back and forth because they definitely have seen in there. So that fee coming in doesn't even cover the payroll or the additional payroll that's required. And sometimes, what normally would take 15 minutes to clean up takes them 3 or 4 hours. So just keep that in
And
mind.
again, even on the park pavilions and spaces, volleyball, baseball fields, unless somebody has them reserved for a specific reason, they're open to the public. Anybody can use them.
First come, first served.
Unless it's league play, and of course, obviously, they have signed very large contracts to use the fields.
If they have enough information that feel that we can go forward with proposals and come back with the information that's requested.
Yeah, I'll ask and I'll just email it out to everybody.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for this? I'll go ahead and close this out. I want to say outstanding on the 225 acre feet of water that we've got coming in. That is a coup.
Thank you.
Adjournment at 7:32.
Let's go out and move some pumpkins.
Oh my goodness gracious.